Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're going to do something that might feel a little weird. We're going to challenge a really fundamental assumption about how we're supposed to think and work. We're always told, be a great problem solver. But what if that's not even the most important skill to have? I mean, think about it. What if the real power, the real game changer, isn't solving problems, but finding the right problems to solve in the first place? It's a question we should all be asking ourselves. Could our entire approach, the way we've been taught to tackle challenges, be flawed? Okay, so let me ground this with a story. Imagine an architect, someone whose entire job is to solve problems, right? Well, a single sentence from a colleague completely stopped her dead in her tracks. It made her question everything, and it all started with a problem that I think every single one of us can relate to: an overflowing closet. So here's how she saw it at first. The problem seemed so obvious, right? I just don't have enough space. And the solution? Buy more shelves. It's totally logical. It's what most of us would do. But as she's staring at this closet that's just jam-packed with clothes she never wears, the real issue hits her like a ton of bricks. The problem wasn't a lack of organization. It was just too much stuff. And the second she identified that actual problem, the need to solve the first one, it just vanished. Poof. In that closet epiphany, that little aha moment is the perfect example of what we're talking about. It's the huge difference between just solving a problem and finding the right one. It's a total shift in thinking, from just reacting and doing to pausing and analyzing. You can really think of this as two completely different mindsets. On one side, you've got what's called design thinking. Now, it's great stuff, but it tends to jump straight into action. It's all about let's go, let's execute, tackling the symptoms you can see right away. But on the other side, you've got systems thinking, and this is the key. Systems thinking hits the pause button. It forces you to take a step back, look at the whole picture, and search for the hidden patterns underneath. That pause, that's everything. So this brings us to our first major tool, and honestly, it's like having a superpower. It's called systems thinking. It's the ability to see the invisible forces, the hidden patterns and interconnected loops that are secretly pulling all the strings behind the scenes. Let's break down two of the most common types of loops you'll see. Okay, first up, we've got something called a reinforcing loop. The best way to think about this is like a snowball rolling downhill. It just gets bigger and bigger, faster and faster. These loops create these powerful cycles. They can be vicious or, in this case, virtuous. So more sales lead to more revenue. That revenue gets pumped into more marketing, which, you guessed it, drives even more sales. It just becomes this incredible self-feeding growth engine. And then, on the complete opposite end, you have balancing loops. Now, think of these like the thermostat in your house. Their whole job is to keep things stable and bring them back to a set point. They're self-regulating. Our own bodies are a perfect example, right? You feel hunger. That's the system saying, hey, we're out of balance. So what do? You eat. And that action brings you right back to full or equilibrium. The system just naturally stabilizes itself. So you might be wondering, how does this idea of systems thinking fit into a bigger picture? Well, it's a core piece of a really powerful framework developed by a strategist named Arthur Jones. I mean, this guy has spent 3 decades in the trenches, helping everyone from huge Fortune 100 companies to tiny startups. His approach is called the narrative intelligence framework, and it gives us the tools to not just find problems, but to totally deconstruct and challenge them. Okay, so once you've used systems thinking to find what you think is the real problem, the next tool helps you just take it apart. It's called first principles thinking. And the idea here isn't to just make small improvements. No, it's about questioning every single assumption you have. You strip it all away until you're left with only the most fundamental truths, the things you know for sure. It's like breaking something down to its most basic Lego bricks before you can build something truly new. So you've found the right problem. You've broken it down to its core. Great. But how do you know your amazing new solution will actually work in the real world? That's where our third tool comes in, red teaming. This is an idea that comes straight from military strategy, and its goal is simple and brutal. Find all the flaws in your own plan before the real world does it for you. And trust me, the real world is not gentle. It's basically a structured way to try and prove yourself wrong. And I know, trying to prove yourself wrong sounds kind of weird, right? But it's so critical. Because we're all fighting against the cognitive biases that are hardwired into our brains. Our brains love shortcuts, like confirmation bias, where we only look for info that proves what we already think.
or anchoring bias, where we get totally stuck on the first idea we hear. And of course, good old optimism bias, where we're just way too hopeful about our own plans. Red teaming is the antidote. It's a system to fight back against our own brains.
And these three tools, they're really just the tip of the iceberg. This gives you a little taste of the depth of Arthur Jones's framework. It's not just about cold hard analysis. It's got tools like narrative archaeology and backcasting, which are all about understanding the deep human stories and future visions that are really driving the whole situation. It's a truly holistic way of seeing the entire picture before you even think about making a move.
Okay, so we have these incredibly powerful ways of thinking, but we live in the 21st century, and we can absolutely supercharge this entire process with a modern amplifier. I'm talking about using AI, not as just some dumb tool, but as a genuine collaborative thought partner.
And this is a really fundamental shift in how we think about AI. We're moving away from that old model, the tool-user dynamic, where we just tell the AI what to do when it does it. Instead, we're moving toward a true collaborative partnership, what you could call augmented intelligence. The AI doesn't replace you, it makes you better. It takes on some of the heavy lifting, cognitively speaking, so you can operate on a whole other level. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, first, the AI acts like a brilliant guide, asking you tough questions to help you figure out what the real challenge even is. Then, it mashes up your human insights with tons of external data to spot patterns you'd probably miss on your own. And finally, it becomes your digital red team, stress testing your ideas and showing you all the unintended consequences you haven't thought of yet. And the benefit here is just, it's huge. The AI crunches the numbers and handles the pure logic, which frees us humans up to focus on what we're best at: empathy, creativity, understanding the lived experience. And because it's neutral, it's the perfect weapon against groupthink. It will challenge any idea without fear. By taking all that work off our plates, it literally frees up our minds to be more innovative. All right, let's bring this all home. We're going to wrap systems thinking, first principles, and red teaming all together into one simple, powerful sequence you can use for pretty much any challenge you're facing. The secret sauce of this whole framework is the order. You have to fight that incredibly strong urge we all have to just jump straight to a solution. No. First, you find the right problem using systems thinking. Then, you deconstruct it down to its absolute core using first principles. And only then do you challenge your potential solution with red teaming. Find, deconstruct, challenge. That's the process. And that brings us right back to the single most important idea in this whole explainer. At the end of the day, being a great problem solver isn't the ultimate skill. Being a great problem finder is. It is without a doubt the most critical first step to creating any solution that's actually meaningful and built to last. So the one question I want to leave you with is this. As you go about your day, your work, your projects, even just your life, every once in a while, just hit that pause button and ask yourself, am I absolutely sure I'm solving the right problem? It's such a vital question, especially in the world we live in today. And if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed trying to navigate the challenges of our, increasingly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, or VUCA world, you might want to look into the work of Arthur Jones. His narrative intelligence framework is designed to give you that structure to find, deconstruct, and challenge the issues that really matter. Thanks for tuning in.